Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Amy Shaba with abracashaba.com and lucky you, today we are making the best ricotta bechamel lasagna. I set out to make this lasagna so that it would be 100% my own. I wanted my own unique lasagna, and for that reason, I consider myself the Goldilocks of lasagna because it's not too saucy, it's not dry at all, it's not too cheesy, it's just right. A lot of people might think that making lasagna is intimidating, but in this video, I'm going to break it down into 3 easy steps. And the first step is to make the meat sauce. The meat sauce is a classic bolognese with tomatoes and ground beef, and I add a couple special ingredients to set it apart from any other lasagna you've had. The second step is to make the ricotta bechamel, and this is my favorite part of the entire lasagna. It's this creamy and cheesy white sauce that replaces that classic ricotta layer, and I find that people that say that they don't like lasagna, it's because of that ricotta and the graininess, but this will completely cut that and it'll be cheesy and gooey and just so delicious. The third step is to assemble the lasagna, and this is just when we layer the meat sauce, the bechamel, and the noodles all together. It'll come together with cheese, and then we bake it, and it's smooth sailing from there. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then a pound of ground beef. Break it up a bit. Here is a little bit of garlic salt and black pepper. Once the meat is about halfway cooked, you're going to add in 1 large chopped onion, and just go ahead and keep breaking it up and kind of smashing those onions too to kind of really work them both together. Okay, so this is looking nice and browned, and the onions are looking pretty good. So now I'm going in with 5 cloves of crushed garlic. Just gonna mix this in and let it cook for about a minute to release its flavors. I just have a chicken bouillon cube and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Go ahead and stir that in. It smells so good. 1 small can of tomato paste. We're just gonna add it in.
Cook the tomato paste for 2 to 3 minutes so that it caramelizes and deepens in flavor.
So you can kind of see that the tomato paste has darkened in color and is fully caramelized. So now we're gonna add in 1 large can of diced tomatoes. Tomatoes are simmering. I'm just gonna add about 1/2 cup of hot water. Once it comes to a nice simmer on medium-low heat, cover it and let it do its thing for about 25 minutes.
In a separate dish, cover the pasta noodles with boiling water so they can soften. They'll need about 25 to 30 minutes. It's perfect to do while the sauce is simmering.
I have some butter melted, and as you can see, it's simmering, so it's ready for a 1/4 cup of flour. And we're just gonna whisk this in until it becomes nutty in color, like brown, to make sure that we're adding flavor to the butter and the flour. Okay, now that it's nutty in color, we're gonna add milk, 2 cups, but only about a third each time.
Make sure you're vigorously whisking every time you add milk to make sure that there are no clumps and that you'll have a very smooth bechamel. Once all the milk has been incorporated, bring it back up to a simmer and then cut the heat. Whisk in half a cup of grated Parmesan, now add in 1 cup of ricotta cheese and whisk it well. Season the bechamel with a 1/4 teaspoon each of nutmeg, fresh ground pepper, and garlic salt. And with that, the bechamel is finished. It should be smooth and slightly shiny, and you can just set this aside to cool. Once the sauce is finished, you can add in a 1/4 cup of pesto, and now we are free to start assembling the lasagna. Start by laying some of the sauce down at the bottom of the dish, and then you can arrange the pasta noodles so that they make a complete layer at the bottom. Spread some more meat sauce over the top of the noodles and then go in with your bechamel. I just spoon it on, kind of swirl it in, because I don't want it to mix too much, because then you're just going to have one full sauce instead of layers. So then on top of that, you put more noodles and kind of press down while you do that so that the bechamel will squish a little bit. Continue with the same pattern of noodle, meat sauce, then bechamel. This recipe will yield 3 full layers, so just continue with the meat sauce, and this time you can just make sure you get all of it in there. There's no waste here, and do the same for the bechamel. Make sure you get all of it out of the pan. Top the entire lasagna with a good layer of cheese. I used 2 cups of freshly grated mozzarella because I want it extra melty, and then drizzle the top with a little bit of olive oil to make sure it gets nice and golden. Bake at 375 for 45 to 60 minutes until the edges are bubbling and the top is golden brown.
I just have to admire it for a minute. The full recipe is at abracashaba.com. It's also linked in the description. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my recipes. Enjoy!